troupes, alongside Punch and Judy and pantomime, are one of the very few indigenous British performance forms. They are an important part of our cultural heritage and folk traditions. The origins of the pierrot character come from the medieval Italian comedy, or commedia dell'arte, as do those of Harlequin and Columbine, whom we associate with pantomime, and Mr. Punch of Punch and Judy fame. What's unique about pierrot in Britain is that there evolved troupes of pierrots specifically at the seaside. The story begins with the development of the seaside resorts and the mass market of holidaymakers as the Industrial Revolution took hold. The earliest references to pierrot troupes are of Clifford Essex, whose first pierrot troupe became known as Clifford Essex's Royal Pierrots after performing for the Prince of Wales at the Cowes Regatta on the Isle of Wight in 1890. The pierrots quickly took over from the so-called nigger minstrels, black-faced itinerant entertainers who performed on high days and holy days at both the seasides and inland fairs. Within 5 or 6 years, there were many troupes throughout the country, and by 1905, many seaside resorts could boast of 3, 4, or even 5 different troupes, all vying with one another for the favour and attention of the holidaymakers. There were other attractions, of course, but between 1890 and 1930, there were over 500 professional troupes working the seaside. The Pierrot concert party was the main way in which young entertainers broke into the profession. The industry was an apprenticeship. The Edinburgh Fringe, the stand-up club and indie pop chart of its day. The Pierrot troupe was where young entertainers cut their teeth and looked for a big break, and where old stagers found their staple income in the summer. Many famous names of light entertainment started as seaside pierrots. Arthur Askey, Stanley Holloway, Max Miller, to name but a few, and their skills and traditions are the forerunners of the kind of comedy we enjoy in The Goons, Les Dawson, Monty Python, Peter Kay, and even Royston Vasey. The seaside pierrot troupes were public property and expected to fulfil certain expectations. They had to be smart, charming, and available at all times. They were expected to perform whenever the management required, up to 3 times a day, in all weathers, if wet, under the pier, and certainly not to greet girlfriends or loved ones in public. They were the boy's own or take that of their age. Indeed, even their names, the Merry Japs, the Imps and the Moths, anticipate pop groups such as the Happy Mondays, the Pixies and the Beatles. Their musical material also links pop bands such as the Kinks, Ian Dury and the Blockheads, the Coral and the Streets, with music hall and folk. There is a direct line from the itinerant clowns of previous centuries through the seaside pierrot troupes of the early 20th century to the comedians and pop groups of today.